Imagine you're alone, guarding your family's land, and a snake appears out of nowhere. What would you do? This isn't just any story. It's the true account of Muin, a young man whose life took an unbelievable turn in a remote mountain village. Some creatures are not what they seem. In 2008, a simple day guarding crops turned into a night of absolute terror, strange beings, and an encounter that sounds impossible, but it really happened. This incredible true story took place back in 2008. Muin lived in a mountain village in the Taiz Governorate of Yemen, near the famous Bab al-Mandab Strait. Life in these villages revolves around farming. Before the rains come, the villagers head to their terraced fields, plant their seeds, and pray for a good harvest. But they faced a persistent problem, a type of wild mountain bird known locally as al-hayal. These birds would descend on the freshly planted fields, dig up the seeds, and eat them, ruining the potential crops. To protect their livelihood, the villagers had to take turns standing guard, often with weapons, just to scare the birds away. One afternoon, Muin, who was about 20 years old at the time, was told by his grandfather to take his rifle, some water, and a bit of food, and head up to guard their family's plot of land. Muin grabbed his Kalashnikov, his water bottle, and a small meal, and made his way to their field high up on the mountain. He found a spot between two large rocks, spread out his mat, and settled into wait. He placed his water and weapon beside him. About half an hour passed, and then 4 of those wild birds landed in the middle of their field. Muin immediately dropped to the ground, aimed his rifle, and prepared to fire a shot to scare them off. But just as he was taking aim, a snake suddenly appeared directly in front of him, only about 10 meters away. He wasn't looking for trouble with a snake. He just wanted it to go away. But this snake was different. It started moving toward him aggressively. He quickly threw a stone at it, hoping to frighten it off, but it just kept coming. He thought to himself, I have no choice, aimed for its neck, and fired a single shot. The moment he fired, the birds flew away in a panic. Muin stood up to check on the snake, but it was gone. It had vanished completely. He searched all around the area but couldn't find any trace of it. A few moments later, a terrifying chill shot through his entire body. An overwhelming sense of fear and panic washed over him. He decided he had to get off that mountain immediately and go home. On his way down, he stopped by his uncle's house and told his cousin what had just happened. His cousin tried to calm him down, saying, You killed the snake, it's over. Don't worry about it. He advised Muin to go home, get warm and rest, even though the weather wasn't cold at all. Muin went back to his house, but the chills got worse. He was trembling so uncontrollably that he couldn't even eat. A high fever set in, and he started sweating profusely. He felt so hot that he asked his younger brother to put a mattress for him on the roof of the house so he could try to cool down in the night air. Later that night, around 11 o'clock, he heard dogs barking furiously outside, as if they were attacking someone. The barking got closer and closer, and then it suddenly stopped. Complete silence. Muin slowly turned his head, and his blood ran cold. 4 men were sitting in a circle around him. Their clothes were strange, like those of desert travelers, and they carried a strong, distinct smell, like burning cedar wood. An old man was with them. The old man pointed at Muin and said, This is the one who killed Darby's. Muin was completely frozen. He couldn't move a muscle, as if he'd been drugged. The old man grabbed him by the neck and said in a chilling voice, Listen, human. You will see, you will hear, and you will breathe, but you will not be able to move. Muin later described the feeling as being exactly like a cat held by the scruff of its neck, utterly paralyzed. They took him with them. He said they moved like smoke, gliding over the ground without making a single footstep. They traveled a great distance, all the way to a valley far from his village. He recognized the place by its distinct dampness and smell. They led him into a large cave where more than 30 other beings were gathered. In the center of the cave stood a commanding figure who looked like a judge. He had a long white beard, wore a turban, and held an ornate staff. The judge ordered the men to release Muin. The moment they let him go, he could move again. The judge looked at him and asked, "What happened with the snake?" Muin, still terrified, told him the entire story, exactly as it had occurred, holding nothing back. After hearing Muin's account, the judge turned to the old man who had first accused him. This man was Darby's father. The judge said, "Your son, Darby's, was not alone. He was with a girl from our people named Hantama. Bring her here." A moment later, Hantama entered the cave. She was dressed in black clothes and wore a headscarf. The judge asked her, "Were you with Darby's when this happened?" She replied, "Yes, I was." Then she explained what really took place. She said, "Darby saw the human sitting with his weapon, aiming at the birds. Darby said to me, 'I want to scare him.' I told him not to, but he wouldn't listen. He insisted. So he transformed himself into the shape of a snake and went toward the human. The human threw stones at him to warn him, but Darby's didn't stop. That's when the human shot him. I was scared by the sound of the weapon, so I blew on Darby's to make his body disappear, so the human wouldn't see him." The judge then turned to Darby's father and delivered his verdict. "Your son brought this upon himself. The human warned him, and transforming into frightening forms to scare others is a dangerous and forbidden act. We are Muslims, and Allah has set limits for us. Your son crossed those limits and caused his own demise." Then the judge turned to Muin and said, "You are innocent. Go home, honored and safe." The same for beings returned him home, moving like smoke, just as before. They set him down near his house at around 2 in the morning. Overwhelmed by fear and relief, Muin let out a scream. His family heard him and rushed outside to find him. He tried to tell them what had happened, but at first they didn't believe his wild story. Soon, though, they noticed he was very sick. His skin was turning yellow. They rushed him to the hospital, where doctors diagnosed him with severe liver inflammation. He had to undergo treatment for 2 long months before he finally made a full recovery. Now, this might sound like a fantasy, but stories like this have precedents. The person who originally told this story pointed out a similar event from the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him. A young man from the Ansar killed a snake in his home and immediately died. The Prophet explained that some snakes in Medina were actually Jinn who had accepted Islam, and he taught his followers to warn any snake found in their homes 3 times before taking action. These are real stories that serve as powerful reminders. They teach us to always begin our actions by saying Bismillah in the name of God, and to be cautious before harming any living creature, because you never know what it truly is. Not everything is as it seems. So what can we learn from Muin's terrifying ordeal? First, the importance of awareness and caution. His story shows us that we need to be mindful of our surroundings and actions, especially in unfamiliar or wild places. Second, it teaches respect for nature and the unseen. We are reminded to treat all creatures and our environment with responsibility and to acknowledge that there are forces in this world beyond our human understanding. And third, it highlights the power of faith and patience. Muin's adherence to the truth, even when facing a supernatural court, ultimately saved him. It shows that staying true to your principles can guide you through even the most frightening challenges. If you enjoy hearing incredible true stories like this one, make sure to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next amazing story we have for you. Thanks for watching.